So in this video, I'm going to go through the 5 most common mistakes that I see first-time investors make when buying their first deal. So as someone that's bought a few properties myself and helping others buy their first investment property, these are some of the common patterns that I see. And you want to stick around for all 5 because number 5 is not only the most common, but the most detrimental as well. So let's get straight into it. So number 1 is not understanding your tenant profile and not assessing your tenants correctly. So when you do buy an investment property, the key thing here is to ensure that you understand what type of tenant you're getting into your property. So whether you're self-managing or you've got a letting agent managing on your behalf, you want to make sure that you do every check possible, especially now as rules are tightening and there's more protection around tenants, especially with the Renters' Rights Bill coming in to play on the 1st of May this year. You want to make sure you do all your checks. So that's credit checks, reference checks, employment checks. They've got the right to rent in this country. ID checks. You want to make sure every check is done and understand exactly what type of tenant you're getting into your property. If they satisfy all these checks and they pass all reference checks and you've done a thorough check, then there's a high likelihood that you're going to get a good tenant in your property. However, if something is missed, then you can be in deep, deep trouble. You can have tenants in months and months in arrears, trashing the property, messing it up, bad communication, and that can cause a big headache. And especially if that happens on your first property, that can actually mean that now you lose confidence. You lose confidence because you've just bought property, you're not making any money from it, and now you don't even want to buy any more investment properties, and now you're out of the game. You know, it's a little bit different if you've bought 10, 20, and now you get a bad tenant. You can work with that, you can deal with it because you've had a good experience up until that point. But when it's your first property and you get a bad tenant, it can really knock your confidence. So if you are using a letting agent to do the tenant find for you, make sure they're a reputable letting agent and they're doing all the checks. I'd also recommend looking at rent and legal insurance as well. So provided you've done all the necessary checks on your tenants and you meet the criteria for the rent and legal insurer, then they can pay out if the tenant does go into arrears, and they can also fund your solicitor fees and legal fees too. So that is a key one when looking to buy your first property. The next one is buying under the wrong structure. So there are 2 real ways you can buy an investment property. 1 is you buy it under your own name, and 2 is if you buy it under a limited company. Now, which one you choose ultimately depends on your situation, what you're doing at the moment, and what your long-term goal is. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, but from what I know and what I've seen, generally speaking, if you're a higher tax rate payer and or you're looking to buy multiple properties in the long run, then usually a limited company structure is the best. However, if you're a lower rate taxpayer and you're only looking to buy potentially one investment property, then actually at times buying in your own name can be better. Now, the reason why more and more people are now buying under limited company is because of Section 24 tax. And essentially what this is you can't actually offset the interest rate of the mortgage as a cost against your rent. You only get 20% mortgage relief. However, if you buy it under a limited company, you get that whole mortgage interest as an expense against your rent, which reduces the profit and ultimately reduces the tax that you have to pay as well. So it's important to speak to a financial advisor, a tax advisor, an accountant that specializes in tax to understand which structure to pick. However, getting this wrong can cost you tens of thousands of pounds down the line. Number 3 is not getting the right mortgage product for your deal. So this is where an experienced, very good mortgage broker comes into play. So the right mortgage broker that specializes in investment properties will ensure they understand you, they understand your criteria, and get you the best lending for your situation. Now, you don't want to be missing out on products that would have been more preferable rate, a better product for you, but because your mortgage broker doesn't know anything about it, now you're actually on a higher rate and you're paying a higher mortgage payment every single month. So do ensure that you're using a reputable mortgage broker, someone that actually understands investment properties. If you've got a mortgage broker that also invests in investment properties, that's even better because they understand the whole model, they understand the whole structure. Number 4 is FOMO. You see other people buying, so you just want to rush in and buy as well. And when you just rush, just because everybody's telling you to buy right now, that can also be detrimental as well. So you don't want to just be buying for the sake of buying. And although I do advocate for taking action, I don't just advocate for recklessness. So do ensure that you're not giving in to FOMO and you're measured in what you're doing. And number 5, this is when you overpay for a property. So instead of using numbers, you use emotion. You like the look of the property. You like how visually it appears. You like how the interior looks. You like how the external looks. You like the smell of the walls. And because of that, now you want to buy the property. Well, that is a mistake. You don't buy a property because it looks nice. You buy investment properties because they make you money and they profit you. And it brings you in good monthly profit. That's why you buy an investment property. So make sure that you do your numbers, you crunch your numbers and ensure that you're going to be getting a good ROI, a good return on your investment before actually looking to proceed on any investment property. Now, I do have a deal analysis sheet where you can just plug in your numbers, where you can actually check your monthly cash flow and your return on investment over the year as well. So I'll have that in the description below and you can just download that for free, and that will enable you to assess any deal anywhere in the country. So hopefully that's helped you understand exactly what to look out for when it comes to buying a investment property, and to ensure you're not making one of these common mistakes, because if you make them, and if you make a few of them especially, then it can be very, very costly. So if you enjoyed this video, do give it a like, and if you found value from this video or any other video on this channel, then do subscribe as well. And until next time, happy investing.